Greg, want to go back to 65-65. You kind of talked about pulling away at that point. What did you see? What kind of stands out to you a little more specifically about what you saw, what you liked about your guys that helped get that separation?
Yeah, they didn't flinch. They didn't panic. We took the timeout, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to take a lot of timeouts because we had burned one or two on the out of bounds, trying to get the ball in. But the response, I think that's the biggest thing. We were able to get it to a 5-point game, 70-65, and then we just we didn't do a great job keeping the ball out of the paint. We obviously didn't do a great job keeping them off the glass, but which we knew was going to be a problem. But getting to the free throw line and having an answer, I think, was big. Obviously, John hit some big shots during that stretch too. So it was just the response, I think, is the biggest thing. They can score with the best of them in the country, and we knew that we were going to have to score to win. It wasn't going to be one of those that we were going to hold them to 65 points, and we were going to have to put some points on the board.
Question in the back, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sure you looked at the film and see a lot of shots you didn't like tonight, but like you mentioned, at least offensively, it looked like this team just never tensed up, and naturally, I think games like this, you see guys get stagnant. Why do you think this thing's come together, so quickly offensively, and how do you think this group just balances kind of letting it loose versus when it's the right time to find a good one?
Yeah, I think Max made a good point about us, them being older, mature. I think that's we've always, our better teams have always been our older teams, and now obviously the landscape of college basketball, it can test you in that if you can stay old. And obviously having John come in, Tanjay, and the other guys, Hunter and Amos, that have had some experience in college, I think that helps, that when you're in those environments or in those type of games like that, they've played in college, regardless of where it was or what level it was. They've got some college experience, and I think you can't put a price tag on that, so to speak. The experience that comes with with older guys is a big benefit, that you can handle success. That's what we talked about at halftime. We played pretty well in the first half, and you have a lead, but you got to handle success, and then to be able to handle when they had us on the ropes a little bit there when it was 65 all. The response back to that, I think, really boils back to the maturity and experience that was on the floor.
Michael up front here.
Obviously, these types of games teach you a little bit about your team, but did you have any idea coming into the game that this team had the ability to play this clean, this in control, just with how they were able to win at the margins and that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt we were pretty efficient and diverse offensively. We have a lot of pieces that can score, and obviously a lot's been made about how we've kind of tweaked some things offensively with this intent that we know where the game is going, where you have to score. And there's still, the defensive principles haven't changed. It's just harder to defend with how the game is called now. Hence, you see 87 free throws or whatever that was between the two of us. So, I think just the staying the course and making sure that when we can get stops, we've got a couple charges or one charge, actually two. Klesma got one, and did Shaniki get one, or Tanjay got one? Those things still matter, and those things will be talked about tomorrow in film. I'm sure I'll find a lot of ball getting in the paint on us, which it did, and the rebounding. I mean, that's what they do. And I've watched 4 games of them this year, and they just pound, and we had to find ways to counter that. You counter that by getting in the free throw line. You counter that by making threes. You had to do something to counter what they do really well.
In the back, and then Jim.
Hey Coach, what does a win like this do for the confidence of your team as you move forward this season?
Yeah, I think it shows what they can be, and it's really, we're only November 15th, or is it the 16th yet? Are we past midnight? But it shows what they can be, what the potential of this group is. We can talk about it, and I can tell them, but they have to go play and prove it out on the court. And I think tonight was it should give them confidence. And I think we had all those Final Four guys in the locker room, and all the former players that were around. I brought them all in. just so they could see, our current team could see, you know, the past and the history of the program, and our former players love being around our guys. They're their biggest fans. So they all have the "make them believe," you know, the slogan that they came up with that year, and we talked a little bit about that. Like, hey, you have to believe, you have to. But like I said, we got a long ways to go. We got a really good Rio Grande Valley team coming in on Monday. I told them they can enjoy it till about 12:05, 12:15 a.m. and then we're back in here tomorrow afternoon prepping.
Go ahead, Jim, and
Greg, the portal makes you evaluate guys so quickly. Is Tajay better than you thought he might have been?
I'm seeing things that I saw when he was at Colorado State. And I think that the year at Missouri, because he was hurt, when I evaluated him, we evaluated him, I didn't watch any Missouri film. And I went right to the Colorado State stuff. And I know the program that they have there, what Nico does. And just seeing glimpses of what he was doing there told me enough in the 5 minutes of film I watched. You know, because obviously in the portal you have to it's speed dating. We're making fast decisions, and he showed me some things there that I felt that there was a lot there to work with, and he was willing to learn and listen, and he's gotten better. You know, that's a credit to him. He listens. He's very attentive. He asks great questions. He's really mature. So it's just like I said, all those things help make him the player that he is, and it helps our team too, because the maturity he brings to it. Not that he's not, you know, joking around with guys, but there's on the court you can tell there's. Like I talked about the experience, it shows with all our older guys and transfer guys.
Ben,
Greg, we talked to Bo after his ceremony, and he talked about how you've kind of taken his program and made it your own. I'm curious, how long did it kind of take you to kind of find your way as the head coach here and kind of not be in your mentor's shadow?
A long time. I mean, and you know, and he's been awesome in terms of, you know, I bounce things off him. He has questions about how the game has changed, what this portal NIL world is like. You know, he's been my biggest fan. You know, there's no doubt. But obviously, you're stepping in some pretty big shoes. You know, so. But I've got a great staff around me. I've had really good players. But you do have to be your own person, you know, and how we've tweaked some things and changed some things, and tried to continue to move forward with where we saw the game going. But we still have the core principles are still the same. You know, it's still, you better take care of that ball. You know, you better defend. We want to get to that free throw line. I mean, those things, how we do it, how we bake the cake, maybe is a little different, but we still want, you know, the results at the end of the day are still what matters.
we got our final question, Nick.
Hey Greg, what stood out about, you know, the defensive effort from guys like Cam, Max, JB on a star like Love holding the 2 for 13?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, you know, Coach Krabenoff did an awesome job with the report. I think he knew which hand everybody opened the bathroom doors with. There wasn't much that went undetected. And they, you know, obviously John got the 2 fouls, so he was a primary guy initially, and then Klez picked him up. I know Cam had him for a little bit. Janicki might have even had him for a few possessions, but you know, just we didn't want to let him get in a rhythm. Obviously, he's a terrific player. And getting him in foul trouble helped. That's the best way to slow down a score, have him sitting on the bench. But there's fouls, so many fouls, I couldn't keep track of who. And I was rolling guys in and out, just trying to buy time. And I mean, I'm sure some people fell out of their seats when I played guys with 2 fouls. I never, you know, I rarely do that, but I felt we had to continue to weather the storm. And I mean, they're too good that they weren't going to make a run back at some point. So I think, you know, we did a better job of we made looks hard for him. He didn't have many easy ones. And that's a credit to our players.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.